Hi, everyone. Welcome to Postscript, Marie Antoinette. I'm Christina Zeiters.
And I'm Beth Capello. If you're joining us from our All Creatures Great and Small podcast, this show looks very, very different from our journey through Derby.
And if you're new to Postscript, welcome. Beth and I will be covering Marie Antoinette, the limited 8-part series on PBS, so you can watch and listen along with us each week. And you'll find Marie Antoinette on your local PBS stations and on the PBS video app.
That's correct.
I forgot what it was called.
It happens. Then you guys can join in the conversation. Let us know your thoughts by emailing ps@witf.org or slide into our DMs on Instagram @WITFORG or Facebook @WITF.org.
That was a mouthful.
It was.
Let us know what you think of the first episode and what you hope to see in the next ones.
We can't wait to read your thoughts. So, Christina, are you ready? Should we dive into the world of Marie Antoinette?
Yeah, let's do it. So we open with this nightmarish but beautiful nightmare.
Beautiful-ish.
Yeah, there's marbles all over the floor.
Yeah. It looks like marbles, right?
And
they're like little balls, blue and white.
Maybe they're gumdrops. I'm not sure, but it looks
I don't know.
marbly. Mm-hmm. People are throwing these at her in bed, and her makeup smudged, and she looks super stressed, and she's trying to find her way out of this room, but she's looking at this big painting on the ceiling and blood drips on her hand. And then she finally finds a door. And there's this terrifying murder clown waiting on the other side.
Okay, so I did not, I remember seeing the blood now that you bring it up. I guess I forgot about that. Okay, so it's a nightmare. And then the murder clown, I was like, what?
Well, we think it's a nightmare because at the end they come back circle and it's like,
this is real.
Based in reality, but the blood dripping on her feels like that couldn't have possibly been real. I don't know how they would have done that.
Yeah.
So she gets out and she runs into this beautiful, brightly lit hallway, and she's trying to escape.
Hold on.
Running.
Absolutely gorgeous, bright hallway in Versailles.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
We don't know that she's in Versailles at this point. I mean, unless you've been there. But it's
right.
It's
if you've been to Versailles, you might know.
You might know.
That's true.
I've never been, so I wasn't sure when we first watched this.
But so the guards stop her before she can escape, and she's screaming. And I'm confused. I really assumed this was a dream at the start, but then at the end, it basically happens exactly how this nightmare.
Pretty much.
Happened.
Yeah.
So.
I felt so stressed. I was all up in my head. I was like, oh my gosh, this is is this a horror show? This is masterpiece. PBS, what is going on?
It felt a lot like a horror movie. I watched with my fiance, who's a big horror movie fan, and he really loved it because it was so horrifying. That murder clown. That's the thing of my nightmares. I hate clowns.
Nightmares. That's nightmares for me. Poltergeist, there's a clown in that movie. No, thank you.
Much. Well, we watched, we watched It, and that's all I'll say is that was the
new
original
It I laughed about.
Was
the original
scarier,
I was terrified
than the remake. Yeah, anyways.
I also watched it and I was like, itty bitty child shouldn't have watched it.
It was definitely a murder clown.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So I felt real stressed. And we get a glimpse at the opening credits, which you didn't really pay attention to.
No, I did not.
But
it's probably
she's
typing or something.
Running through this. That's legitimately a thing that happens to me, and I miss things. She's running through this labyrinth of bushes. It felt very Alice in Wonderland. And adds to the whole feeling of being trapped and not being able to find your way out. Mm-hmm. And then
very much alluding to the rest of the episode,
right?
And her life, I guess.
All of it.
Yeah.
And then we find ourselves in Vienna 6 months earlier, and she is getting ready with her mother. We know at this point that basically she's been promised to France as the future queen. Well, Dauphine.
We have. Dauphine. So let's do disclaimer. We are not French.
No, this is important. Yes,
this is very important. We will mess this up. We are going to butcher it really badly, and we apologize in advance. And if anybody wants to help us in this process, feel free to let us know.
Well, somebody on our education team, Jennifer, promised to be our consultant.
That's true.
So we'll have to ask her
for some help. She did help us the other day, so that was nice. But
all of it left my head already.
A little.
The first line we hear from her mom is, Antoinette, shh, think of your duty to me, Antoinette, your duty to Austria, to the House of Habsburg, to the Holy Roman Empire, and your duty to France.
Yeah, all about duty and
it's so
DOODY,
stressful.
but
yeah. She's 14. So
wait.
There's
she is 14.
Right.
But I'm another disclaimer, not very caught up on French history. So I've had to do a lot of digging and stuff.
Same.
So like I didn't even know she was 14 when we first watched it. And then I looked it up and I was like, "Oh my gosh.
I guess
she's 14."
We know that she hasn't menstruated yet.
in the show.
In the show.
If you catch that.
Yeah, if you catch it. If you're a woman and you're like, "Oh, I remember my first period. It was awful." You might have caught that.
Yeah.
But from I'm reading this biography that the Kirsten Dunst movie was based on, and so she is 14. Austria is growing their empire through marriage. She's skinny, flat-chested, and has a pouty lip because she's 14. And she excels in dance, which we see when she curtsies. She was actually much more graceful than she's letting on. Mm-hmm. And her mother did preach complete subservience to your husband. But so we see her like getting made over, essentially. Mm-hmm. She's just this 14-year-old girl who now has to be in the public eye all the time. That contraption that she has in her mouth.
Yes,
is real.
Yeah, so I thought this was my first take
that it was just a medieval torture device,
sort of, but like something for her to like take medications because of the way the whole thing was set up in the beginning. I was like, is this a nightmare or is this reality? Why are they holding her arms and dragging her back to a room?
Right.
Like it didn't make me think that she was like mentally
sane. They were giving her something to calm her down.
You know, that kind of thing. Like, okay, like this is your duty to me. You have to take this medication because then it helps you. So I thought it was something to like hold her mouth open to help her take it. But then they put something in it and noticed
it's so that biography that I'm listening to, it's actually like the precursor to braces. I guess it's called the Pelican.
That doesn't sound nice.
It looks awful, but she's doing that. They're cutting her hair, which I felt really bad for her because I know my hair is precious to me. And like when I got my hair cut for the first time, short, as like a 6-year-old, my dad looked at me and then looked at my mom and said, "What did you do to her hair?" It emotionally scarred me for a while, but now it's a funny story to tell. But I thought I looked so ugly. So I identified.
You probably look so cute.
When they cut her. Oh, I did. When they cut her hair, though, and she said, "I look ridiculous."
Yeah.
That was like, I feel you. So yeah, her mother's like all about duty. She's asking her mom, like, what do I do on my wedding night? How do I like initiate, like what's expected of me? You're talking about all this duty. And she basically doesn't prepare her at all either.
Nope. Be subservient.
Yes.
And do whatever he asks you to do. But I'm not going to help you or tell you anything about what you're supposed to do on your wedding night.
She says basically that Louis will guide her, but as we know, he's just a little older. Like he's 15 years old. No 15-year-old boy knows how to guide
a woman,
a girl,
or a girl, because she's still a girl.
Intercourse. Yeah. So I was so frustrated. But there are moments where you get to see some of the like mother-daughter bonding where they're like applying goat's milk or goat cheese to their faces, and they're like giggling about like the marriage and what will it be like and everything. So that was cute. But overall, it's her duty to produce an heir.
Yeah.
And it's very stressful. Then we jump forward to her journey to France because the contract is signed. She begs her mom, "Please don't make me go." That was horrible.
I felt so bad.
Her mother leaves the room, but then she does break down a little bit. So there is some that we know her mother cares about her, but isn't very good at showing it.
Well, she can't show it.
Yeah,
because I guess she has to be strong for her daughter to not be worried. Like, I'm not worried about where you're going. You are going to be fine. But really, I could see a little bit of like
she's trying to keep it together.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah. I'm not a mom, so maybe I don't get that yet.
I could see a little bit of it, but I don't know. Like, I wrote down like, why would she want to go somewhere? She has no clue who they are. Right. And like, they're like enemies. Like, why? I don't want to go to an enemy
true.
country.
Like, they're not friendly. And now she's on display too. She knows everyone's going to be watching her because her mother like hammered that into her. She has to be perfect. She has to be absolutely perfect. Mm-hmm. So she does make it to the carriage with her pug, and she's scared to leave. She looks back at her mom. She starts sobbing. And that's when we're getting glimpses of her, like,
doing negotiating.
Sorry, I jumped ahead there.
That's all right. That's what we're here for.
But she also thinks back to the morning of her departure, where she is asking, "Do I look like a French princess?" Her mom's saying, "You'll always be an Austrian archduchess," and it's who comes first, Austria or France? And I think her mother replies,
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know.
I know.
Please tell the poor girl.
First, she's 14. And like,
right.
I have like, it's a really good question, one for like a 14-year-old to ask. Like,
right.
Well, who comes first? Because she's going from her family, who she knows and loves as a child. Mm-hmm. She was raised there. Everybody she knows is there.
And she loves Austria.
Exactly.
She's an archduchess.
Exactly. Then she has to go to, previous enemy, where she has to actually accept them as family. And then what if something happens between Austria and France? She doesn't want her family to get hurt.
She has to choose a side.
Yeah.
Essentially. Because if she tries to side with Austria, the French will think she's a traitor. Which I mean,
it ends we know how anyway. It ends.
But she's journeying. You get to see out the window, like all of the things she's passing. She has her little pug. I'm feeling good about this. Like, maybe it will be okay, even though we know it won't be okay.
I'd bring my pug.
I know, right?
He's
like,
so
it's
cute.
such a cute little baby.
I know.
But then she gets to the border, and
I have... This lady is a bitch. That's what I have. I don't know if you have to star that.
She is like, she's super duper stern, we'll say. She's a very stern lady.
No, she's rude. She's rude. She's got resting BF. And she's like such a jerk to someone who's just like a child.
Right.
14.
So in the book that I'm listening to... she is described as kind of feeling responsible for her upbringing. So she is seeing herself as this like stern teacher to a young archduchess / Dauphine.
They don't do that in the show, though.
Right. So
the book is nicer.
That gave a little backstory to her at least. But yeah, I mean, that would be really scary to like, you're in a strange country. You know nobody. You're going to marry this person you don't know. You don't know what's expected of you after the wedding. And now there's this lady who like refuses to give you a hug and also takes your dog.
I was a teacher. I wouldn't take somebody's dog from them.
Well, so I hope we get to see that dog return, because
fingers crossed. We just watched All Creatures Great and Small. Right. There were dogs everywhere.
I'm not entirely convinced that dog wasn't just like pitched.
But I don't think it was.
Okay.
Because they were at the border.
Okay.
Everybody she was with was Austrian.
Okay.
And the pug went back to the Austrians. So I'm pretty sure my thought is they just put him back in the carriage. And
I did not watch ahead, so I don't know.
I didn't either, but I'm guessing that he just goes back home, and the mom's like, oh, well, she wasn't allowed to have the dog, so.
Right. I don't know.
I mean, the carriage and all the guys are going back to her house.
I hope you're right. I'm just worried because this lady's so mean. I'm just so worried
she gave
about
it back.
This lady. But yeah, so obviously Marie Antoinette is heartbroken and emotional, and she just tells her that a French princess doesn't show her emotion.
Yeah. You have 2 minutes to get it together.
Yeah.
Like, that would have even been nicer, but no, we don't show emotion. She's like,
right. Come on, let's march through the woods to the hunting lodge or whatever we're going to. So this is a good spot for us to take a quick break. And when we get back, we're going to talk about first impressions about all of the people we meet at this hunting lodge.
That sounds good.
Okay.
I'm a little stressed.
Yeah. Let's take a break.
Welcome back, everyone. So let's start off this. We were talking about first impressions, right?
We were, yes.
So we're going to go back and we're going to do first impressions of Marie Antoinette.
Right.
Okay? And the actress.
She's the first one that we meet.
Yeah. First one we meet. So far, she's Maria amazing.
Theresa. Teresa? Therese? I don't know. Her
Therese?
mother. We didn't look into her, though.
I
Well,
didn't look into her.
we gave our first thoughts on her. So let's move on to Marie.
Now I'm just confused. But anyway. Okay, so I wanted to look a little bit into like the actress's history and how long she's been acting for. She looks super young.
She does.
I know.
Believable 14-year-old.
Exactly. So her name is Amelia Cholet. Did I do that right? I think so.
I think so. Or
I think
it's
so.
close,
Anyway.
at least. It's as close as we'll get.
Disclaimer again, I'm going to butcher the rest of this. But she was born on November 28th in 1992.
Okay.
Which is honestly, she's only like she's a year younger than me.
Oh, my gosh.
And I'm like, I wish I looked like her.
She's just
gorgeous.
a baby in my world.
I know. You're not even that old. Stop it. She was born in Blagovishkensk. Oh my gosh. I am so sorry. Do you see that word?
I'm trying to see it.
That city? Blagovishkensk.
That's Russian.
Russia.
That's Russia.
Yeah, I should probably ask my sister. She knows some German pretty well, so that she should probably be able to get that. Anyway, she's an actress known for, here we go, round 2, Fresh Mädchen.
Okay.
I don't know how you say that, but 2008, Totord in 1970. What? 1970? She wasn't born yet. So I'm confused. IMDb is lying to me. She wasn't born yet. And Dream Factory in 2019. She was around then. Why was she in Totord?
Something must have.
Totord. It says 1970, but on like if you scroll down, it's 2012 to 2020. It's a TV series.
Oh,
and she was in 3 episodes.
Weird. All right.
Yeah. So anyway, she was also in High Society. She was Annabelle in High Society in 2017.
Okay.
So anyway, apologies for all of that butchering.
It's not her first job.
It's not her first job, and she's 31.
I can't do the math.
She's turning 31 this year.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my sister was born in 1990, which is why she's a baby.
She's
to me.
Anyway. You are not old.
Anyone as young as my sister or younger is a baby in my world.
Okay.
Yeah. But
so I'm a baby.
You're a baby.
I'm sitting across from you working with you all the time, and I'm a baby.
You seem like you have your stuff together, which is what makes it really hard for my brain to commute. But yes, you are. You are a baby.
It's all a part of the appearance. It's a hot mess over here, actually. Okay. So let's go to the first impressions of Louis' family.
So, okay. We meet Provence. He's very handsome, which means he's probably a jerk.
Yes.
That's
very
the association my brain makes when I see somebody who is very conventionally handsome. I'm like, keep an eye on that one. He might be a jerk.
Yeah, there's something about him. There was something about him in the first scene where I was like,
you immediately didn't like him.
No,
I was just like, he's handsome. She likes him.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
But that is not Louis.
Yep.
We also meet Louis, who
seems very awkward. He actually reminds me of one of my cousins.
He is carrying a dead rabbit.
I know.
Not a great
he's just
impression.
The way that they portray him is he is just like, even in that scene, he is definitely not one of the family. Like, he is so different.
He's very different from the rest of the royals.
Family.
He's awkward. He's like an actual teenage boy.
Exactly, which you're supposed to be.
He looks a little bit greasy. Yeah. Probably smells a little bit like every teenage boy in existence.
Yeah.
And like, he just looks very uncomfortable. And she so I thought it was funny. Marie Antoinette just goes into this like curtsy thing where she just gets stuck in a curtsy
she keeps
loop,
going.
and they're like,
curtsy.
He's like, I would probably do that too. I don't know what else to do.
Yeah, and that's what he says. He's like, calm down. You're going to make us all like this. I forget what he says, but something around
You're making our head spin or something like that. We also meet Adelaide. I think I'm saying that correct, which is one of his sisters, and Victoire.
Yes,
who is Victoire, who is another one of his sisters, and they look like witches from like
the
a
Sanderson
Disney movie.
sisters.
They look like the Sanderson sisters. I felt like they should like link arms and do that silly little walk where their legs go in front.
They kind of reminded me of the ladies from The Sandman, that TV show on Netflix.
Yeah,
but yeah, those ones were actually like
they were nice sisters.
These ones don't look nice.
These look a little sinister. They look meaner than the Sanderson sisters, even though the Sanderson sisters want to eat children.
So there's that.
We also meet the Duke de Chartres.
Is that how you say it?
That
sounds
that's
good.
what my notes say. Chartres,
Okay.
who is a cousin, and the
He's a
Princess
cutie.
de Lembala. I
Is that how
probably
you say it?
butchered that.
Lambala?
Lambala?
I mean, it's spelled
Lambala.
Lambal.
Lambala.
But Lambala.
That's
Okay.
probably the emphasis was on the wrong syllable.
Yeah. Emphasis. I like it.
She's an Italian member of the family by marriage.
Yeah. She seems so nice.
She's the only one that seems genuinely nice.
Italians are nice.
Are
I can
they?
say that. I'm Italian.
I thought, okay.
My husband's
I
Italian.
was going to say in the movies, it just seems like they just shout at you all the time. So
They love you. They're still
okay.
nice.
It's just, it's enthusiasm
I'm
then.
very,
not
very
anger.
like tiny Italian. I'm mostly from Denmark. That's where my maiden name comes from.
I'm almost completely German according to my family tree.
Oh,
So,
nice.
but I can't
We should, like,
pronounce
pull it up.
German things.
Did you do like a test? I did 23andMe.
I want to
spit in a
do the
tube.
DNA test. I requested one forever ago and I never did it. But I still have it. I think it's on my dining room table, buried under a pile of other things. So I need to do that so I can find out just how
Yeah.
German I am, because so far it's looking pretty German with a dash of Swiss, like a tiny dash,
Just a dash.
like one granule. Okay, so that was. Did you
That's
have
the
any
family.
first impressions?
Well,
on
the
anyone?
grandfather.
Oh yeah,
King
the
Louis.
grandfather. He wasn't on here.
King Louis.
He wasn't
Whoops.
on my list. I forgot him.
He seems nice.
He seems nice.
I'm sorry, you make that sound awful.
I feel like.
Do you
he's
think there's
not-
something
I think
else?
he's not as nice as he seems right now.
Okay.
But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just reading
Yeah.
too much into it because the rest of his children or grandchildren just come across as kind of mean.
You know what? That sounds like he's nice, but like all the kids are just
Terrible.
awful.
Right.
You know,
So I
and then
don't
the
know.
princess is the nice one, and she's not even
yeah, she's
related
not
to them.
actually- Well,
Not blood
probably there's
related.
probably some blood relation somewhere because these are the royals. But she's
Yeah, you're right.
She's in the family by marriage, and she
Yeah.
is genuinely the nicest person. She seems very uncomfortable about what Marie. She knows what Marie's going to go
What she's gonna go through.
So after we meet everybody, they go.
Oy
and
vey.
eat lunch, and they are scarfing their food down. And
They're disgusting.
To be
like-
honest, I feel like that's how I eat sometimes because I eat so
No,
quickly. I
you
just
do
like
not.
shovel it into my mouth. Like
They were like this.
I try not
wish
to
I had,
slurp
like,
my soup at least.
I wish I had like a fork to be like. That's what they sound like. Nom, 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 nom. You could hear everything and like all the banging of the forks on the plates and stuff. Oh,
Yes.
yes, and
Yeah.
I was like, stop. Sorry, guys who are listening.
And it's very awkward for Marie. She was just getting
Yeah.
all these etiquette lessons.
She's
so that
like-
she looks proper in front of the French, and they're eating like savages.
She's like, do I eat? Do I not? What do I eat?
so-
What do I do?
yeah,
Poor
she finds it
14-year-old.
really funny, and she starts giggling. And the king says that she's laughing at you guys because you're like scarfing your food down.
Yeah.
So that lightens the mood a little bit, but doesn't win her any friends.
No.
Yeah. So she is trying. She remembers her mom saying something about entertaining the Dauphin.
Dafoe.
Dauphin.
I think
Dauphin.
Dafoe. Yeah.
Okay. I would practice
I mean, it's
this
spelled
more.
like dolphin.
Dauphin, but it's Dauphin.
Yeah.
Dauphin. And she remembers her mom saying that she should entertain him because laughter brings joy to a marriage.
Yes.
And so she tries.
She
and
tries.
Louis burps in her face.
Which was funny.
Because
that's
he's
like
15.
He's 15. It's so awkward. That's exactly what probably happened at lunch when I was a kid in middle school. Like,
Yeah.
it definitely probably happened.
And in the middle of lunch, Madame du Barry.
Ooh, way to
Walks
say that
in.
right. I like it.
So Marie is like enamored with her,
I know.
and I am too.
Ooh, do tell.
I love her, even though I know she's not going to be a good person.
Exactly.
I'm enamored with her because
She
she's
has
so pretty
that look.
and she carries herself so well.
She does. Yeah.
She's
She
good at
has the look
faking it.
of Cersei from Game of Thrones.
Okay.
And I'm
I
referencing
didn't-
something you've never seen,
I've
so you
never
might
seen
want to
it.
get on it.
Okay.
Have you seen Narnia?
Yeah,
The
well,
ice-
some of it, yeah.
The like ice switch.
Yeah, I don't know
one?
if I've seen all of it. So I don't know for sure what I saw.
can't with you.
I'm sorry. I don't watch
What
a
do
lot
you
of
watch?
movies. I watch these shows so
Yeah.
that I can talk about them.
Okay.
And a lot of reality trash.
Oh, okay. There we go. I don't watch reality trash.
So, okay. Madame du Barry walks
Yes.
in and she says, please don't get up. Have you all been waiting for me?
I love the way you said that. It's perfect.
And Marie is obviously enamored, and she's like, "Who is that? Who is that?" And we find out that the Countess is here to entertain Papa Craw. And she says, "Oh, I can do that. I can be very entertaining," not knowing
this
it's a
poor
different
child.
form of entertainment that she's there for.
She's such a she's so young.
Yeah,
she's like, I can
she's
be very
so
entertaining
naive
and
because nobody's told her
so
anything
naive,
about the world.
And her mom hasn't helped her with anything. Like the way this woman walks in the room and sits down on his lap,
very
like
confident.
we should probably know what he what she entertains
She's
with.
just been very sheltered.
Yes.
Because she was an archduchess who has never encountered a prostitute in the wild.
Yeah, I guess.
So she sees that the king is feeding Dubarry. Did I say it right? I don't know.
I think you said it right.
And she's like, "Would you like to feed me, Monsieur?" I said that wrong too.
Monsieur?
Monsieur? I don't know. And
Monsieur?
Monsieur.
Thank you.
And he tries to do the thing she's asking him to do, which is feed her. But he breaks a piece of lobster in half and juice flies all over her face. And everyone finds this very entertaining, but you can just see the humility on his face. Like, "Oh, I feel you. You are a 15-year-old boy and somebody's asking you to feed
the weight
me.
of the country is on his shoulders.
Feed me. Like this sexy thing is happening over here."
Yeah.
And he
would
just
you like to feed me? And he's like,
squirts
"Okay,
lobster
I'll
juice.
try." Okay,
So
sorry.
There are moments where I feel, I don't know if we're supposed to feel fondness for Louis, but I felt
sad for him.
I feel like he's just doing his best here, and so is Marie. After lunch, Provence and Louis are fighting outside.
Natural brother things.
While
I'm
Marie
well
and the
aware of
princess
that. It's going to be in my future.
Roll it around.
Yep.
Marie and the princess are sitting looking out the window. The princess says that Provence cannot forgive his older brother for stealing his crown.
I don't know how your older brother can steal a crown when it's given to him.
Right.
They got Loki vibes all over it.
I feel like Louis probably would prefer to not have the crown.
Quite certain on that one, too.
Based on his entire person.
Yeah.
And that Louis lives in a world of his own. And Marie is worried about how she's supposed to share a bed with a boy who smells.
I wrote, "Welcome to the real world. They all smell a little funky."
Well, especially when they're 15.
Especially
there's
when they're
a lot
15.
of hormones going on.
Oh,
Lots of
yeah.
sweating. Like,
Yeah.
there's just, it's impossible. We find out he hunts every morning and he won't change his routine, not even for her. But he's a good boy.
Which I liked.
And Provence is the one with the waspish tongue.
Provence.
Yeah, Provence.
The waspish
tongue. Yeah, that's
like
what
it.
she says.
Waspish
I thought it was real on the nose.
It'll sting you.
Because, yeah, wasp stings hurt.
Oh, yeah,
Real
I
bad.
know. Yeah. Trust me. I
But
had like 15 one time. It was bad. But anyway.
But Marie is happy that he at least spoke to her. So, I
Yeah.
mean, Louis hasn't really talked to her this whole time.
And I mean, it seems like the Marie and the princess are going to do well. Get along well.
I think they are going to be friends. Yes. So now we come to the journey back to Versailles for the rest of the family. Marie has to stay back at this hunting lodge. She can't be at Versailles until the wedding day.
Yeah. And they are all talking crap.
They're all talking trash.
They are.
So, well, except for the king and Louis. Louis doesn't say anything too terrible about
Louis doesn't say much
Marie
at all.
Because the king asks
a man
him,
of few
like,
words.
What are your impressions? What are your first impressions? And he says, if she were a filly, I'd say she has strong hind legs and a frisky tail.
A filly?
A filly, like I think that's a horse, right?
A horse?
It's a horse. So if she were a horse, she has strong hind legs and a frisky tail, but she should have fewer oats in her food, which I thought was kind of weird because she's so skinny and small.
Yeah, but like he didn't even see her legs or her butt because she's under this huge dress.
True. I think he just assumes things. I don't know. Maybe because she asked for food. Maybe there needs to be fewer
frisky
oats.
tail. Yeah, I guess
frisky tail. Yeah.
Yeah.
Her hair was out.
All right.
And then in the other carriage. This is where all of the real poop talking is happening. She's short, she's skinny, she's flat-chested, she has flat feet. And did you see that vile Habsburg lower lip? Which is a real thing based on that biography. She had a pouty lip, and it was apparently undesirable. And an adult person, the pouting would probably be annoying. So they said that's so common, and somebody else said she's too dreadful for words. I can't remember who said everything, but they're just really mean to her. And Du Barry has things to say about her, and is reminded of her place when she was like, well, where were you educated? And it was in the Slumley, what was it? Slumley Marseille? Is that? Marseille. Slumley Marseille, or in the streets of Paris. And so we know that she's a commoner. Mm-hmm. So she shouldn't have so many opinions on this Archduchess of Austria.
But it seemed to me like she was also entertaining Provence in the carriage.
I feel
does she entertain everyone?
I feel like she might entertain everyone. That was my take on it, because she's real comfy. She's like strewn across his body, essentially, like draped across him. And they're kind of like...
Seemed way too comfy for me.
Yeah. I didn't...
If he's the younger brother of Louis. Louis 15. How old is he?
She doesn't have much power.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. If he's younger. Ooh.
Yeah. So how old is she? She's
I don't want to think
entertaining.
About it. I don't want to think about it.
Okay, I'm done.
Well, let's put this in perspective, because next we flash back to the king's carriage, and it says, it won't be long till she delivers your son. And Louis says, I'm not ready to be a father. So, I mean, they are expecting a 15-year-old to impregnate a 14-year-old. Yeah. Like immediately to produce an heir.
Just little babies.
I guess that's not crazy that she would just be entertaining a 13-year-old. We also don't know how old she is.
Yeah. We might have to look
that up. Which is problematic. And back in the mean people carriage, they say, we must get to know our little Dauphine. We must keep her in our sights, Provence. And he says, I do enjoy target practice. And he like imitates a gun coming down, like he's putting his aim on her. And I didn't like it.
His waspish tongue.
That's when we know he's a bad person for sure.
Well, we knew in the first scene. We looked at him and he's not good.
Right. And so back at the lodge, the princess, I think, is still with Marie Antoinette.
Marie,
But Marie asks why they didn't go with them, and we find out she has to spend her first night at Versailles with Louis, his husband and wife.
Yeah, she's not allowed to go to Versailles until they're married.
Yeah, and she kind of says, I can't imagine what's going to happen tomorrow. And the princess says, don't ask. Like, she doesn't want to know, but she needs to know.
She needs to know.
Somebody...
And I mean, like, she tries to ask. So this is ask number 2.
Right. And then she's like, will he try to kiss me? You must know you're married. And we find out that the princess is a widow. But still.
Who was she married to, though? Do you know?
It must have been somebody in the family, but I don't. I remember looking it up, but I didn't write it down. So I'll take a closer look at a later date.
Okay, thank you.
But we find out she's a widow, which doesn't mean that she doesn't know unless they never consummated their marriage.
I think she said they never consummated. I think her saying she doesn't know means they never consummated the marriage.
But she seems to know what's coming, because she looks really uncomfortable at that bedding ceremony that we're going to get to later.
Well, because she had that ceremony.
Oh, maybe. That's true. And it's awkward.
I mean, if she says she doesn't know.
You're taking her word for it.
I would assume that she doesn't know.
You're taking her word for it. Because
she was young. She looks like she's younger than her.
She looks very young, too. Yeah. That's true. So I wish that she would have warned her.
I wish, too.
I mean, I just feel really bad for Marie. Mm-hmm. Marie's first night at the lodge is also very stressful, because first she's tucked into that bed so tight that you can't move. It looks like they were restraining her like without straps. So it looks more gentle, but she's so tucked in.
Like, you cannot get out of here.
But yeah, she can't sleep like that. I wouldn't be able to sleep like that. So
it reminded me of the scene in The Patriot. Have you seen the movie The Patriot?
I have seen the movie The Patriot.
There we go. We got one today, guys. One. Where Heath Ledger, he is zipped up so he can't get out because he's sleeping at the girl's house that he's courting, but he's not allowed to get out.
Okay, yes.
So, yeah.
I don't know why.
It just reminded me of
I don't know why she had to be tucked in quite so tight, because nobody else is there except for the women.
I don't know.
But she's tucked in. She can't stay that way. So
I don't
she
want
gets out of
tucked me
bed
in like that.
She gets out of bed. and she's kind of investigating the room, as one does.
Yes.
I do it too, anytime, anywhere that's new.
Yep.
And she finds a string of pearls, and she finds a note that says, "Trust no one at Versailles. Even the walls have eyes and ears."
So weird.
Which is ominous.
Yeah.
And she
Like, who wrote that?
Right. I guess maybe it's implied, I guess, later, because we find out who the string of pearls belongs to. She falls asleep, evidently, and has a nightmare, because this can't be real, of being pulled down into the water by a giant strand of pearls.
I would have that nightmare as well if I was in her shoes.
Yes. So we are going to take a quick break. And when we get back, we'll talk about the journey to Versailles and her entrance at Versailles and the rest of Versailles.
And here I am, guys, stressed again. We'll be back. And we're back, and we are at Versailles.
Yes.
And oh my gosh, it's gorgeous.
It is gorgeous, but can you imagine being Marie?
So stressed.
Yeah.
Still stressed.
She's in this beautiful carriage too, but
and her
she's always
gown is gorgeous,
contained somewhere, and this is no different at Versailles.
Yep.
She arrives, and there's a lot of you can tell she's nervous. She's gripping her clothes, and she's kind of breathless and everything. She notices everyone's looking at her. Hello, that's a trap. That is a cage.
Looking at her.
And she arrives in the courtyard, and there's a labyrinth, like a marble labyrinth on the ground. She's on both sides of her are bishops, I assume, from the church. The walls of Versailles have her caged in. Everything is just
she's literally she's got the carriage. All the people are lined up.
Yep.
And nobody even goes to this poor child and says
No.
come on, let's have fun.
Right,
let's come
here,
in.
let me.
It's everybody's watching her from above. These guys are in a line, kind of you can't turn back. The only way you can go is tunnel. You have to go forward. And then she walks forward to these two guys, and luckily she knows one, which she told me because I didn't know she knew one.
One of them is the ambassador to Austria. So his name's Merci, I believe. And he introduces her to the Duc de Choiseul.
Wow.
Thanks to my little handy note here. And the Duke is the Majesty's prime minister. So she has a friendly face that she has at least met a few times, or once at least, in front of her. She also notices, as she gets out of the carriage and probably prays that she doesn't trip, slip, or fall, that Louis is up in a very top window with a little telescope looking at her, which I thought, I don't know,
is she
kind
comforted?
Of sweet. I don't know if she's comforted, but I think it's kind of sweet. He's just so nervous about all of this that he's watching from afar, but he's embarrassed because she sees him and he backs away from the window.
He could have came down and said, "Hi, let me walk you
she
in."
Desperately wants that, because when she meets the Duke Choiseul, she says, we find out that he's the one that organized the Austro-French alliance.
Which is incorrect, because they think it's a Franco-Austrian alliance.
Right, true. And he's the one that chose her to marry the Dauphin.
Yeah.
Dauphin. I practiced it so often.
You did. Didn't you have a song?
Dauphin. Yeah, it's Jolene. But
I love it.
Anyway, she says, "Will he speak to me?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm sure," with encouragement. But she's been doing nothing but encouraging him to talk to her since the moment she met him.
Exactly.
So anyways, the gossip begins during this whole presentation ceremony. She's walking into a room, and she trips.
Yeah.
And she's so embarrassed, and she hears her mother's voice. "They will be gazing at the future Queen of France. Any imperfection will reflect badly on you, and more importantly, on me."
I know. More importantly.
That's just awful.
Hey, you're 14. You're still new to the world, but here you go.
The person escorting her is just take it slowly.
Yeah.
She admits to Madame du Barry that she tripped and everybody saw, and she's like, "So what if they saw?" So she's acting.
I'd be like, who gives?
She's acting like she's her friend at this point.
Yep.
Maybe she kind of is at this point. I don't know.
Based on that carriage ride,
I don't know.
She's playing the nice cop.
I
Good
guess
cop.
so, trying to get the inside scoop.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. She's moving in. She's given this lush apartment, and we find out she's not happy about being ordered to curtsy when she met Noai, the stern lady at the border, Noai. And they took her bug, and the ambassador is like, I will take this up.
Yeah.
So maybe the dog will be back. Hopefully the dog will be back. I don't know.
We'll see.
She says that she found a casket of jewels at the hunting lodge, and we find out that they belong to Louis' late mother and that they're hers now.
So the note was from Louis' late mother.
That's what I am
Don't trust
guessing.
everyone at Versailles. I don't know how Louis' mother passed.
Unless, it just came to me now. What if it was the princess leaving a note? On the slide, just being like, hey, FYI, don't trust anyone at Versailles. That just popped into my head as a possibility, too.
Good thought.
But it could be, it could have been Louis'
If anybody listening or watching knows, please let us know.
Email us at ps@witf.org. Good time to do a plug. So there's this domineering portrait that overlooks this entire apartment.
It's huge.
But now she has to fill her shoes too, on top of producing an heir, producing an heir.
There you go. I like it. Or an ear. I mean, she has to make
getting
ears.
Louis to talk to her first.
Yeah,
it's an ordeal. Lots of pressure. We also see both her and Louis getting ready. It's a whole ordeal. There's several people undressing and dressing her. He's being forced into a bathtub. I don't know if he really would have to be forced into a bathtub. I can't imagine he hates baths that much. But maybe he just
was
busy.
It was cold, wasn't it? Cold water.
He was busy. Oh, I don't know. Maybe
what
it was
I
cold
imagine
water.
That scene, it looked like it was cold water.
It was just ice cold water. They were that would explain a lot.
Yeah, they didn't seem very friendly. It's his wedding day.
They're being very mean to him the whole time. They're making crude jokes and.
But he's gonna be the king.
Right.
You're gonna get fired or lose your head.
You're right.
Calm down, people.
Maybe more of that should have happened.
Maybe.
Before they lost their heads.
Yeah.
And then we get to the wedding. And we kind of hear this voiceover from her mother that says, when you give birth to the Bourbon heir, you will guarantee peace for both empires. The fate of millions of people rest on your slim shoulders, Toinette.
Harsh.
No pressure again.
Oh my gosh.
No pressure. So we see close-ups of Marie and Louis. They both look absolutely horrified to be there. They don't look comfortable. They don't look thrilled, but they're dressed very nicely.
Her dress is gorgeous.
I was so focused on their faces and how terrified they looked that I didn't actually notice the details.
Okay.
I knew they were dressed nicely, and that's about as much as I took in. Did you notice anything specific about it?
Nothing
or just
really
that it was
specific.
Gorgeous?
Just that it was really pretty. And I just I'm thinking back to my wedding, and I remember the stress, but the excitement. So
yeah,
I feel like she is a little excited, but she's so stressed and anxious about all this other stuff going on. But she's naive.
Well, she had this idea that it was going to be
fun.
Yes.
I'm getting married. This should be fun.
She imagined this probably her whole life, and now it's not going quite as planned.
Yeah, so
but maybe it will turn around.
Yeah, I felt as though she was trying to be excited, but she's just being shut down for bringing some type of positive perspective in any shape or form to the situation.
Well, and because he's so stressed too.
Yes.
And he's surrounded by horrible people that are making him feel even worse about himself, so that doesn't help.
Yeah.
So he's shaking. Well, they're both shaking, but he's shaking the most. He goes to put the ring on her finger and he drops it.
Yeah. I wonder if that happened in real life.
I don't know if it happened in real life. I did take a closer look at the wedding, which I'll get to in just a minute, because I have feelings about when he drops the ring, she goes, whoopsies. And I just thought that was so cute and probably exactly what an awkward 14-year-old princess would say. Oh, no. Oopsies. But I guess somebody retrieves the ring.
I think his grandfather does.
Yeah, so it's the king retrieves the ring. It gets on her finger. They're married. They're very stressed looking. There's intrusive fireworks as well that add to the drama and the stress of the whole event. But yes, I took a closer look at the wedding.
Okay.
Because
I want to know about that.
Right. So they were married in 1770, but the marriage was planned in the early 1760s. So when they were like literally 4 or 5, like a little bit older than that, that's when it was planned.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
The wedding took place by proxy in Vienna on April 19th. So the actual wedding, like legally binding, was already done by the time
they had the wedding at Versailles.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would explain why she doesn't have any family members at Versailles.
Right. They would have had a wedding in Vienna, but by proxy, so he wouldn't have been there. But she would have had a ceremony that she had gone through.
How on earth does that even work?
So in the book that I'm listening to...
I wasn't even allowed to get my marriage certificate without both of us being there.
In the book that I'm listening to, the proxy, if I remember correctly, was her brother. So her brother sat in essentially, ceremoniously, symbolically is the word I'm looking for.
Yes.
As her husband for the proxy wedding. Yeah.
I'm stressed thinking about this.
Marie arrived at Versailles on May 16th, entered through the gates at 10 a.m. and was shown to the Queen's State Apartment. So that happened. And then after getting ready, she entered the King's cabinet at 1 p.m. The two the Dauphin and Dauphine held hands and walked to the royal chapel where they were married. In the official, historical record of the court of Versailles, online, because this is where I got the information from, it says that both were full of emotion.
Okay.
But I don't know what that means.
What emotion?
Yeah, exactly.
Fear?
Was it terror?
Terror?
I don't know.
Excitement?
There has to be some sort of
sadness?
Documentation, but it's just full of emotion, in quotes.
They probably put all those emotions and stirred them in a pot.
Right. Just make them emotional.
Yeah.
But the ring was exchanged, the papers were signed, and in the early afternoon, the Dauphine received her wedding gift, which was a carved cabinet full of jewels and jewelry. And then they attended the ambassador's reception where the King's Game was held. I did not get a chance to look into what the King's Game is, but I think it was gambling from the quick click I did.
I know he's 15.
Yeah. So illegal in this world.
Yes.
And the planned fireworks, which we saw in the show, were actually postponed due to a storm. So they didn't happen on the same day as their wedding.
Okay.
However, the celebrations continued until May 30th when there were fireworks that killed 132 people.
Well, that is quite alluding to their future.
There we go. That's the wedding. That's the wedding closer look for you.
I don't know. I don't even know what to say about that.
Omen.
Yeah.
Their wedding ended with lots of people dying from fireworks.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, my goodness.
Before the bedding, we see basically just Marie. They focus on Marie.
Yeah.
Getting ready. And Madame du Barry is coming in, and she makes the statement that the only thing missing is her wimple. So this poor girl, she's expected to produce an heir, but she's all buttoned up.
A wimple?
A wimple, like the thing that nuns wear.
Oh, is that what nuns
that's
wear?
What a wimple is.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
thanks.
okay. So the wimple is the headdress that the nuns
because
wear
she was all buttoned up.
Right. Yeah, so she looks very conservative.
Says a prostitute.
Well, I mean, when you have to do the art of seduction,
do the deed, yeah.
there's a little bit of effort that goes into that usually. And she's told,
I prefer being all buttoned up to my neck with my dimple on. My wimple on.
With the wimple on. She's told this is Versailles, not a brothel.
Yeah.
And so du Barry unbuttons some of her buttons. I mean, she is 14, so she doesn't have much cleavage to speak of.
Yes.
But she said, right, that's better. She calls her a little angel and asks if her mother explained the mechanics, what goes where and who does what. And she's like, no, nobody explained it. She's like, I can teach you the art of seduction. And she's like, teach me, please. I must do my duty.
Yeah.
She's so desperate to know what she needs to do.
That's the 4th time in this one episode in like 3 days that she's been asking someone. Because
she needs to know.
Yeah, but the mistress actually told her, said God will be your guide earlier.
Right.
So
right.
And her mom says Louis going to help her.
Right.
The princess is like,
I
don't know. And the mistress is like, God's going to help you.
And God will guide you.
God will guide you. And then...
And she says, what does God have to do with it? Which is legit, girl.
Yes. And then Madame du Barry is like, hey, I can help you, but you know what? We're going to be besties right now. And I'm going to be so nice to you. And I can help you.
Now.
I'm just not going to do it right now.
Not right now.
So, sorry.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going on here. I don't know if it's because there's so many people watching her and they all... look down on her because she was a prostitute before becoming, I guess, the king's entertainment. Yes. But we also find out that a boy is asked to spy on Marie on behalf of Austria and report back to, I don't know, was it the ambassador? I'm getting a nod from Allie that it was indeed the ambassador.
Thank you, Allie.
And basically he wants to know, do they have sex?
Oh,
everybody is watching them through the keyholes. Like, it's kind of gross. So this boy is named Julie now, and he's dressed like a girl so that he can spy properly on Marie.
This lifestyle.
Yeah.
So stressful.
So now we get to the bedding ceremony.
Yeah.
It all comes into this moment where everybody gets to watch. Four boys.
Yeah. You described the bedding ceremony, and I'll give you the closer look I did on the bedding ceremony.
4 boys push him in. Two women push Louis in, I should say. 2 women on Marie's arms bring her in. And producer Allie counted 15 to 17 other people.
Oh,
not including the 2 of them in the room. That is a crowd. That is
that they have to get naked in front of.
So they're disrobed. They both look horrified because they're naked in front of everyone. They're trying to cover all their important bits.
Yeah.
And they get into bed together and immediately pull up the covers, which is what I would do.
And like a big space between them both.
Right.
Too.
Yeah. There's a big space.
Don't
they're not touching
come near
each
me.
other. They're both naked in front of a crowd.
Yes.
Nope. This isn't conducive to foreplay for normal people.
No, not at all.
I should say. So these people are all surrounding them, and they start throwing those marbles.
The marbles
at them.
You said they could have been like mints.
I don't know if they were like
gum or
bubble gum or gumdrops or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
They're pretty big.
The only one that looks uncomfortable with this is the princess.
Yeah.
Louis's brother is having a ball. Like he looks just like a brother, just
Loki
violently throwing. Right,
Loki looks torturing his older brother.
Right, and not the Marvel Loki, like
not the Marvel Loki,
more real life version of Loki. And like it's just really stressful. So like you took a closer look at this. How much of this feels real?
Okay, so there's a lot. I tried to just gather a lot of information from the internet of what, I guess there was a lot of the same kind of information out there, not very in detail. I tried figuring out like when was the first one, when did it end, that kind of stuff. So bedding ceremonies began in the 1600s.
Okay.
So that's
about 200 years, no, 100 years or so earlier.
Almost 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're in the 1770s,
yeah, 70,
right?
70s.
Yeah.
1770.
Yeah. So that's just the internet. This is all from the internet. It happened with the royals, so like poor people didn't really know this custom.
Okay. They probably already had children. Continue.
Probably. Yeah. In the morning after, there would be an inspection of the sheets.
Ew.
By the ladies of the bedchamber
so
to see if the marriage had been consummated.
They could have just let a dog in.
Yeah, no.
Dog would have sniffed that out fast.
Oh, so fast. Somehow we know that. But so we have so many fur babies. But anyway, I think it's because my recollection as a woman is that, the first time you have it, typically there's blood. So I'm sure that's what they're looking for.
I mean, not
is
always,
some type
though.
of that.
That's
not
an
always
accurate
but some
depiction of.
That's probably what they're looking for.
Possibly, yeah.
But I don't know what else they would exactly find
that would be
if
really
they're supposed
violent.
But if they're supposed to consummate the marriage and have an heir, they wouldn't find much. Do you know what I'm going with this?
I know where you're going with this.
Oh my God.
Because all that should have been inside.
Exactly. Anyway. Oh, goodness gracious.
We're going to get weird on this podcast.
We are? Well, this is a show. It's definitely different. Okay. So the purpose of the ritual was to establish the consummation of the marriage, either by actually witnessing the couple's first sexual intercourse,
okay,
or symbolically by leaving before the consummation. And that's what we see with Marie and Louis.
Okay.
No.
But they were watching through the keyholes, essentially.
But they're not like
they're not in their room.
to. They're just snooping.
They just wanted to.
Yeah.
That makes it worse.
I don't know. People are, this is weird. But anyway, so it's supposed to symbolize the community's involvement in the marriage. So legally binding nature of the ceremony varied greatly from like place to place and throughout time.
I feel like the community does not need to be in the bedroom.
Apparently, the royals think the community does. I mean, for royals, your duty is to produce more royals. That's your job.
Yeah.
Everybody else kind of does everything for you.
That's the woman's job.
That's the woman's job.
Yeah.
So they're making sure that this happens.
Right.
In England, the ceremony usually began with a priest blessing the bed. The newlyweds would drink sweet and spicy wine. And then the groomsmen and bridesmaids sat on the sides of the bed.
Okay.
And they threw the couple's stockings at them.
Oh. Okay.
If they hit someone,
this is in England. Okay.
If they hit someone, it was a sign that the thrower would be the next to marry or marry soon.
Oh, like the bouquet.
I guess.
Oh, wow. And the garter. So we have taken this bedding ceremony and made it part of a wedding reception in modern day.
I suppose. I did not look that up.
Because the garter is very directly with the stockings. Yeah.
Yes. So they take the stockings and throw them.
Okay.
I'm guessing that's where they get the marbles from. I don't know. But for Marie and Louis, they were in Marie's bedchamber where she sleeps. Mm-hmm. And the bed was blessed by the Archbishop of Reims, I guess, Reims.
Okay. That
sounds right.
Close, at least.
The king gave the Dauphin his nightshirt, and the Duchess of Chartres,
I think that's right.
Chartres gave the Dauphine hers. And in the presence of the entire court, the couple lay down to prove that they shared the same bed, which is what we see.
That's what we saw.
However, luckily, bedding ceremonies did stop. Thank God. By the end of the 17th century.
You can leave now.
But of course, it was right after Marie and Louis had to deal with all of it. But by the end of the century.
So they were at the tail end of this voyeuristic show.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel for them. I'm really happy they stopped before I got married because heck to the no, I would never in my life get married.
The Archbishop cannot be here, please, and thank you.
Yes. Please remove anything holy from this area.
What does God have to do with this?
Oh my gosh.
That's awful. But so it was maybe as awkward as what they depict in this.
I guess.
It's possible.
I guess. So,
then
we go right back into the opening,
right.
essentially,
this is
the
where
nightmare.
We come full circle. We see Louis. Well, Louis gets out of bed because she tries to talk to him.
Yeah.
That's all she tries to do is talk to him. And he runs out of bed and he journals. He says, "I feel nothing." And he throws the book and he looks miserable in his little, office and puts his head down on his desk.
What a moody teenage boy.
I know. He's 15.
He's moody.
I don't know how old he'll be in the next episode.
She's just like,
but
hey,
hopefully they establish that.
Will you be my friend?
Hello. I don't know you and I would like to get to know you better.
Yeah.
Can we talk? She's upset. She tries to run out. And this is where it's basically the nightmare sequence again. She bursts out into the hallway and she runs down the hallway and she's captured by the guards, and we find out that so the house mistress Noe says, "You have failed to perform your duty. The Empress will be informed." And she has this crazy
you didn't do what you were supposed to.
Okay, you tell the Empress.
But it's not her fault. I don't know. And then she smacks her. She slaps her. Which is the title of the show.
It is the title.
The slap.
There was a slap earlier, too, between Du Barry and the king.
Yes.
Too. So there's lots of slaps going on.
There is. And then the whole situation is a slap in the face, too. But
right.
Oh my gosh, this is I'm so stressed.
Yeah, this was a really stressful episode. I don't know if the rest will be quite as stressful as this. I'm hoping not. I'm hoping that they kind of you know, Marie actually gets to talk to Louis.
Yeah.
Like, he actually talks to her, and like maybe they build at least a friendship, if nothing
That
else.
would be nice.
Like, at least then she would
they
have
have 7
something.
years before they have a kid.
Right.
And we know this factually.
Right. From history.
From history.
So we'll have to see where this goes. But I'm hoping that the next one, I mean, we all know how it ends, so I'm sure it will still be stressful, but I'm hoping it's not quite as intense.
It just
as
depends
this
on
one.
what they cover. I mean, there's 8 episodes. Are they covering the
all
whole
of
reign,
it?
or are they just
Yeah.
covering a little bit?
Yeah, so
To be TBD. We'll have to watch.
The cinematography is amazing. That's why we're so stressed, because there's not that much dialogue to it's mostly like
And the
facial
acting.
expressions and like mood lighting, and
Yeah, the acting is amazing too.
Yeah,
It's
they're
phenomenal.
really good at looking completely horrified.
Yes.
Thank you for listening to Postscript from WITF. We can't wait to watch along with you and talk about the world of Marie Antoinette week to week.
That's right. And we want to know how you're feeling along the way. So email us your thoughts at ps@witf.org. Engage with us on Instagram at WITFORG or on Facebook at WITF.org.
You got the
You
mouthful
usually
again.
do this.
That's because I should know these off the top of my
But you
head.
do know them off the top of your head.
This podcast was produced by Ali Amrose for WITF. I'm Christina Zeiters.
And I'm Beth Capello. We'll catch you next week for episode 2 of Marie Antoinette.